Did you know that you can use merch that you don't even own to connect with your ideal clients and turn them into somebody that you have a long-term relationship with? Hi, I'm the Merch Nerd, I'm Brenna, and today we're going to talk about how you can take advantage of products that you don't own to take your client along the customer journey. So what is the customer journey? This is something that I learned from C. Savan, who's one of my mentors. I just like the way he puts it, but basically it is 5 steps. You need to be seen. Your customer needs to get to know you. They need to get to like you. They need to trust you to the point where they believe from you and buy from you. So how can you use product reviews to take them along that journey? Well, number one, let's start with being seen. I don't know if you've come across the TikTok of the Amazon review guy, but that is his whole kind of stick, is he does product reviews, but he always starts with a weird product, kind of a funky product that he literally never talks about again in the little TikTok, but it stops the scroll. It kind of makes you like, hey, what's that? What is this weird product he's using? And so that is something you can take advantage of too. Like, what products do you use that align with the transformation that you help people go through, that are either are kind of eye-catching, unique, and they will stop the scroll, or something that goes along with the problem that your client has, that they might, and ideally that they might already have either bought or be searching to buy. So, for example, one of my friends is a fitness trainer out in Las Vegas, and he, for his transformations, really big on kettlebells, but his ideal clients may have been shopping for weights. They may have been, looking at Target or Walmart or on Amazon and kind of saying, hey, like, I know I want to do strength training, I also want to go to the gym. What are the weight options? And so he could stop people scroll with something about kettlebells, whether it's kind of why kettlebells are, better than free weights, or 10 things I regret about buying this kettlebell, or something that kind of goes to that shopping idea and with a twist that's like, why would you regret buying a kettlebell? Kind of that stopping people scroll and getting them to pay attention to you. 2, you want them to get to know you. And this is where product reviews are a really great vehicle, because once, it stops becoming about the product and it starts becoming about you. Let's say you're talking about, again, David is talking about a kettlebell. Well, it's a heavy thing with a handle on it. People don't need a lot of explanation for what a kettlebell is. I think we all can just, our knowledge of living the world and physics, that, he doesn't need to explain what a kettlebell is, but how he talks about the kettlebell is going to let us know his personality, potentially his values, his energy, his voice quality, just a lot of things about like, hey, this is who this person is in relationship to something that is kind of a known entity. So we're not focusing on the item as much as we're focusing on how he relates to the item. So it's a great neutral way for people to get to know you. So then, like you. Now this is where it's not your job to get people to like you. It's your job to be who you are, and it's their job to see if they jive with that or not. Now, I don't encourage you to be actively disagreeable unless that's who you want to attract. But it's just your job to be you. And just recently I have been looking for kind of knee strengthening exercises and some exercises to address, some joint issues that I'm having with my new prosthetic. And there was a guy I came across who, in the first 15 seconds, said something that I found very distasteful. So I bounced. I'm not his customer. And that's okay, because there are people who would probably laugh at that or be like, oh yeah, he talks the way I talk, or like, I get him, I like the fact that he's a little edgy. Or for me, I was just like, not what I'm looking for. So again, I think the biggest thing with like is your job is not to force people to like you. Your job is to be who you are so the people who need you specifically can find you. So the next step is trust. And this is going to come both from you relating the product to the transformation, to the person's problem, so they feel heard, they feel like you understand them, and to give them some opportunities to actually test what you're talking about. So again, going back to David and kettlebells, he can talk about why kettlebells are the answer to weights and why they're better than free weights. He can also give his top 3 kettlebells that he likes from Amazon. Even better, he could go to a Target and review the kettlebells at Target. Go to Walmart, do the same thing. Go to Dave's, not Dave's, what's the big sports store? That one, and do the same thing. And that gives people an opportunity when they are in Target or Walmart to go through the weight aisle and just check what he's talking about. He also can build his expertise with that, show off his expertise, which is another level of trust. Say there's a kettlebell with a gripped handle, and it might seem like a great thing because it helps you grip the handle, but he can talk about how that's actually a really bad design for a kettlebell because it'll tear up your hands as you use it, which means you won't be able to use it, defeating the whole purpose of having the kettlebell. Or where the plastic seam is, like maybe it's underneath the handle because it looks better, but again, that's going to be in a place that irritates your hand and so makes that object actually not that useful. Or based on the cost of it, what is a reasonable cost for a good kettlebell? Like most things in most products in the world, you can get really cheap options, you can get really expensive options, and everything between. And there are some reasons why a really cheap option is not good. Maybe the weight's inaccurate, so it says 5 pounds, but there's no quality assurance on the cheap option, and maybe it's 3 pounds, maybe it's 7 pounds, it's just whatever weight that thing happens to be. Or the plastic breaks down really quickly, and so you've spent money and maybe it was $10 less than the next option up, but you're not going to be able to use it for very long. So it's a chance to show expertise, which again builds trust. And then belief, and this is where they buy from you, and whether that's they're buying through an affiliate link, which they might do in the trust phase as well, or what you really want is they're buying something that you sell directly, that you have, like they have given you money, and that shows that they are in with you for your transformation. But again, all of those levels can be achieved with products that you don't own or products you already own that you're talking about. So they can see you cover something that's really interesting, or you cover something boring in an interesting way, like why I regret buying this, mistakes you make with this thing, where to get this cheap, why you should spend $100 on it, something that's kind of like eye-catching and idea catching that stops the scroll. Or you do kind of how to choose a kettlebell. It's more boring, but it will capture the people who are more engaged with you and are closer to your journey. So that's how they see you. They get to know you by your personality as you talk about the objects. They get to like you if they like you, or they bounce if they don't, and that's great. If they're not your people, you want them to find their people, and if they are your people, you want them to know you, so as you go into a long-term relationship, they're not shocked and surprised that you're somebody completely different. And then trust. You're going to build trust by showing your expertise around the subject. You're going to build trust in talking about how that object is part of the transformation you're going to take them on, and that's going to either, again, resonate with them of like, oh yeah, that makes sense to me, that feels right for me, or not. And they may, not that they don't like you, but they may just be like, this person doesn't have what I need from them. And they might actually even buy the product, or at least go test the product if it's something they can do in real life, or something inexpensive that they're like, okay, it's worth me trying this guy's, Dave's recommendation for this type of kettlebell because he seems like he knows what he's talking about. I like him. The way that he works seems to be the way that I want to work. Let me give this thing a shot. And then all of that builds to belief, where they give you money for something you sell directly. And that is the beginning part, I guess, the beginning and the early middle of the long-term relationship. All right, guys, I'm Brenna. I'm the Merch Nerd. I talk about how you can use physical products to initiate and strengthen and create a long-term relationship with your ideal customers. I will be back. See you later.